Everybody wants to get forward.
To be here. Last year we went in.
Hey, how's it going?
And we were at the state capitol, and it was incredibly beautiful to be under the dome. This year, we're at the most beautiful courthouse I've ever seen. I just walked inside. You should go do it afterwards. It's unbelievable. Ohio, at one point in its history, obviously took great pride in its citizenry and great pride in its possibilities and in its future. And it needs to again, instead of just selling the rights to pollute across the state. There was a terrific op-ed piece in the New York Times today by Tony Ingrafia, the Cornell scientist. And what he pointed out, he said, there's no way that natural gas, that frack gas any longer can be said to represent a bridge to the future. It's a gangplank to the globally warmed world that we're trying hard to prevent. And what I'm here today to tell you is only that not only is the fight that you're fighting absolutely essential for the communities of Ohio, and it is reasonable and sensible that that's where you'd be mostly focused, but it's also a fight that's absolutely essential to the future of this planet. And it's a fight in which you have many, many, many allies. I've spent the last 10 days or so out on the road with this thing we've been calling summer heat. And I've been in the Mackinac Straits up between Lake Huron and Lake Michigan, where they're trying to put a tar sands pipeline underneath the Great Lakes. And the next night I was in Vancouver, Washington, where they want to put a huge oil port along the Columbia River. And the next night it was in Moab, Utah, where they're fighting the first tar sands mine in the United States. And then on to Maine, where they're fighting pipelines. And Washington and Massachusetts, where yesterday a bunch of people were arrested outside a big coal-fired power plant. And in Washington, D.C., the day before that, where hundreds of grandparents who had marched from Camp David to the White House, many of them were arrested trying to stop the Keystone Pipeline. And on tomorrow or the next day to Richmond in California, where people are trying to shut down the Chevron refinery before it starts taking tar sands. The point is, all these fights are the same fight, and they are the most desperate fight we've ever been in as a planet. Last summer, the Arctic melted. We've lost 80% of the ice that was in the Arctic 40 years ago, the sea ice. We've taken, that is, one of the biggest physical features on Earth, and we've broken it. And the other one's close behind. The oceans get more acidic day by day by day. See, the thing is that much as people would like to, there's no real way to drown out the science. There's no horn sound. There's no horn that one can sound that's loud enough to blot out what we're doing to the planet. Someplace around the planet now, almost every day, we see incredible, devastating flood because warm air holds more water vapor than cold. The atmosphere is about 5% wetter than it used to be. And so we see these horrendous downpours that take huge numbers of lives in place after place after place. Even big parts corporate America are starting to understand that. The insurance industry, the industry we asked to analyze risk in our economy, has been sounding the alarm. The only people who refuse to get it are the fossil fuel industry, and they refuse to get it because doing things the way they're doing now has made them the richest industry in the history of this planet. But we do not need them to do that. There were days this summer in the country of Germany, where they generated more than half the power they used from solar panels within their borders.
Yeah.
That's the other news. That's the other news that the energy industry would like to drown out. Okay? But it's coming. In those places where people have made the choice, we're proving that we can do it. Think about that. In Germany, Munich is north of Montreal. Think what a country could do that had, oh, I don't know, California, Texas, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, Florida, or even Ohio at its disposal. Think about that sun. Think about the dramatic solar spill that we are experiencing today. Okay? All of it going to waste because one looks around the roofs here and there's nothing to capture that sun. There are more solar panels in Bavaria than there are in the United States. And that's because they built the kind of movement that demanded change. And that's the kind of movement that you all are building here. Sometimes it comes, sometimes we have to play defense against terrible things like fracking or against the tar sands pipeline or whatever. And sometimes we have to play offense too. That's why all over the country, people are institutions and colleges and churches are divesting their holdings in fossil fuel companies. They understand that it's wrong to direct the
I'm going after Bill McKibben. That's like me going after Lois Gibbs.
You have allies all over the planet. This movement is rising and rising quickly.
I got a number.
They said that there was no
knock him out
use standing up to fracking anywhere. But you know, so far we've managed to keep it entirely at bay in New York. In my state of Vermont, we banned it all together. Just like they did in Quebec, just like they did in France. We're going to roll it back here in Ohio too. The day will come when people wonder, what were we thinking? We knew that we were triggering earthquakes, and yet we kept doing the same thing. That is very strange human behavior. And it's time for that human behavior to come to an end, even if it's making a few people very, very rich. So we're side by side, people with you all across the country, all around the world. And the good news is that the resistance we're building and the science that it's based on is loud enough to drown out the money. That's what we have to do. Together we will do it. I thank you all so much for being here, and good luck today. I'm afraid I'm headed off because I've got to get to the next stop on this place, but I will go with that vision of the courthouse and all of you in my mind. Thank you so much for all you do. It's really, really, really good to see you.
You're going to the site? I can't. You'll know exactly why. She is the go-to person in the state.
Oh yeah. I guess they've already got some probably doing it, but
facts, figures, the latest statistics.
Lynn made me laugh. She goes,
Everything.
"You go to the grocery store because I'm walking
And
out."
she's bringing you some of those today. Speaking on behalf of Buckeye Forest Council and Center for Health, Environment, and Justice, please help me welcome Teresa Mills. Yeah, I'm supposed to follow Bill McKibben, right? You know, I think the first thing I would like to do is thank the pipe fitters that are bringing more attention to us. Thank you very much. We are mothers. We are fathers. We are husbands. We are wives. We are doctors. We are nurses. We are teachers. Everyday working class people. We have jobs, and we want everyone to have jobs, but we want everyone to have safe jobs. We are here to speak truth to power, and we are first and foremost the Truth Squad. I'm sure that everyone has seen lately in the papers that Portage County has received the highest amount of fracking waste in 2012. That is absolutely true. But what I would like to share with you is the historical volume of waste that has been injected in Ohio since 1978. And this number is so big that I had to write it out because I couldn't figure out what the number said. Okay. I got the wrong banner.
Hey, it's all about economy.
Okay, let me give you a little hint. It's more than 1 gallon for every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth. It is more than 687 gallons for every man, woman, and child in Ohio. That number is 7,892,815,182 gallons have been injected into Ohio soil. And that's just the numbers that we know. We know those are lowball numbers, but those are the only numbers we could get out of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And the only number that I could get out of anyone on the amount of solid waste from fracking going into Ohio was through Pennsylvania. And there was over 200,000 tons of solid waste coming into our landfills from Pennsylvania, and that's Pennsylvania alone. Ohio, we can't get that information. We can't get that information from West Virginia. So it's time our legislators stand up, listen to us, pay attention to us, or get the hell out of here. Thanks.
Teresa. Okay, so next up, we have a retired nurse, and for those of you